Every expectant mother knows instinctively when her unborn child starts moving around in the womb, right? Actually, it's not that simple. Those movements are not as obvious, dramatic, or clear as we might think. First-time mothers often feel perplexed by those movements, feeling as if they've had a drink with too much carbonation, or as if they've been on a roller coaster. It takes experience to know what those feelings are. With lots of experience, second and third time moms notice those movements much sooner and recognize them for what they are more quickly. Of course, you moms out there know much more about this than I do. Well, discernment works the same way. We all experience movements of consolation and desolation from the earliest years of childhood, but we can be better or worse at recognizing those movements for what they are. We need help discerning those signs. So what are the unmistakable signs of God's presence? Those signs are those thoughts and feelings that expand our hearts. They move us beyond ourselves and make us more capable of loving others. Those signs are feelings of deep peace and joy that accompany a desire, make it easier for us to put it into action. While we may not recognize and understand those signs at first, with a little time and help, we can learn. Elizabeth helped Mary to pay attention to God's movements in her life. She could do this because she had learned to recognize them in her own. We need that help too from those who have a little more experience in the spiritual life than we do. We need the help of spiritual directors and friends in the Lord who help us to pay attention and recognize those signs for what they are. They teach us to pay attention to significant moments of giving and receiving love, to moments of gratitude and ingratitude, to moments of deep peace and joy and their opposites, restlessness and frustration. And they help us to understand these. Sometimes they teach us by listening to us and reflecting back what they hear. But other times they simply teach by the example of sharing how they have found God active in their own lives. Are we familiar with God's movements in our own hearts? If not, who might be able to help us, like Elizabeth does for Mary? Hi, I'm Father Greg Celio.
And I'm Father Matthew Pierch. We are part of the Jesuits West Vocation Promotion Team.
A vocation requires discernment, and so we're making a 7-part mini-series on discernment using the Christmas story as a lens on decision-making.
We all have choices to make in life, and some of those choices are life-altering.
What we need to do is to open ourselves up to God, because God's Spirit always leads us to what's good.
And the characters in the Christmas story reveal ways to recognize God at work. St. Ignatius taught us that we can find God in all things. So we want to help you learn how to let God influence your decisions.
Each week, we'll present a different aspect of discernment. So click subscribe to stay updated. Thanks.